I could not go up to the first floor to meet the chief town planner since there was no lift to take me to his first floor office. He refused to come down to see me. At that point, I realized that physical barriers were not the only ones I was going to face. Ever since my accident on the motorway, which left me with a C4 spinal cord injury, paralyzing me from the neck downwards, I had thought the biggest challenge for me was going to be accepting this new person that I had become. The Sana that I didn't recognize anymore. The Sana who couldn't walk. The Sana who couldn't breathe on her own as she was on a ventilator. The Sana whose hands didn't work. The Sana who was now dependent on everything, on everyone. The Sana who was now a disabled, a cripple, a mazur. Looking back, I realized I wasted so many years of my life feeling sorry for myself. I let darkness surround me. I let grief consume me. But to be fair to myself, how could I not? How could I expect a 17-year-old who had just gotten admission into a medical college and was on her way to fulfill her lifelong dream of becoming a doctor come to terms with this colossal loss? How could she possibly understand that all her dreams, hopes, and desires had been snatched from her in a second? How could she reconcile to live a life she had not chosen for herself? How could she accept this fate when it was not her fault? It didn't seem right. It wasn't fair. My life was over before it had even begun. All I was left with was misery and despair. Life as I knew it was over. But a new life awaited me. A life in which my body was broken but my spirit wasn't. A life in which my hands didn't break but my mind was mine to command. We hope and pray for miracles. What we don't realize is that life is the miracle. The decision to just exist or live is up to you. Once you accept life for what it is rather than what it should be, you start living. With the help of the love and support of my family, I finally realized that while my spinal cord injury was responsible for my physical limitations, the mental limitations were all thanks to me. It was time for me to take control of my life. Started my law degree. That in itself was a huge challenge because since I could not write, I had to dictate each and every word. It was frustrating, but I took it in my stride because I knew the focus was on the goal, because I knew my law degree was going to enable me to advocate for accessibility and equal rights of PWDs, and that gave my life a purpose. We all live a life for ourselves, but a true life is the one that is spent in service for others. Having seen life as an able-bodied young person for 17 years, I knew fully well how society treats anybody who's different. I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. I wanted to use my voice, my privileges to better the lives of those who could not do that, who didn't have the same opportunities. Laws existed for wheelchair access, but they were not being implemented. So, with the help of my friend, Advocate Ali Chukpai, I filed a petition in the High Court. I knew it was not about me anymore. I had to fight for others. In 2018, we filed a petition just asking for accessibility in public and commercial spaces. I thought that accessibility, being such a basic right, would not be something I would have to fight too hard for. Little did I know that accessibility itself was inaccessible to PWDs. 3 years of litigation and my petition was disposed of with a very generic acknowledgement of my plight and with no tangible change. I was dumbfounded. I felt shocked. I felt hurt. But most alarmingly, I was in a state of resignation. If I could not be given my basic right to access, essentially meant the society at large had told me to stay at home and just shut up. So I, so I started thinking that is this it? Is this how my life is going to end? Is this how I'm going to spend the rest of my life sitting at home, languishing the days away in self-pity, all the while a marginalized community remains subjugated without a voice? No, surely not. Giving up was not an option for me because this fight was not for me. It was not about me. This battle was for all those people with disabilities who had been made to feel invisible, unheard. The society and the state had denied our existence for far too long, so no, I was not going to shut up. We revised our strategy and this time we upped the ante. In 2021, we filed a case was fixed towards before the Honorable Justice Jawad of the Lahore High Court. At the first day of hearing, I was very nervous. The petition has a prayer attached to it towards the end where the petitioner exactly writes what he or she seeks from the court. My prayer was not a figurative one. It was an actual prayer. To be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged. The judge, after hearing the initial prayer, went into a brief silence and then he remarked, "With a citizen cannot walk due to a disability, the courts should be there to remove the disability for him." A compassionate judge who wanted to help me. I could not believe my luck. In Pakistan's international law obligations and the jurisprudence of the court precedents, and from there everything changed. The ripple effect started. Now that we had the force of law, not just in letter but in spirit behind us, everyone magically started complying. Ramps were being put up, people were being taken to task, but we were not done. We were not happy. This was not our goal. We always had our eyes on the bigger picture, and that was that until the whole province of Punjab enacted a comprehensive disability policy, we would exhaust ourselves in pleading in front of each and every entity responsible for PWD rights. We wanted to make a real change. We wanted to do justice to a community that had been subjected to injustice for far too long. We wanted PWD rights to improve for good forever. The time was not now or never, it was now only. For far too long, PWDs have lived in a world that has not been made for them. And that is not right. You cannot just ignore a major part of your society just because you think they are different from you. So we fought, we battled on, we soldiered on. And the battle was finally coming to an end, and we had emerged. The Punjab Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Act 2022 is the law of the land of a province of 110 million people. This legislation is truly unprecedented. How? Amongst other things, we expanded the definition of disabilities to not just include visible disabilities, but invisible ones as well, ranging from autism to ADHD to multiple sclerosis to even dyslexia. We wanted to improve all facets of life of PWD and not just restricted to access to commercial buildings, but to access to transport, to healthcare, to employment, to education. Wanted PWD rights to not just protect them, but empower persons with disabilities to live a life of independence and dignity that they deserve. fundamentally, we wanted to do away with the separate but equal rhetoric. And people with disabilities are a part of the mainstream employment and educational system. So why should we be treated any differently in our own country? Why should we not have a right to a similar roadmap? It defied prudence. It defied. Now it was our time to be defined, like as well. So why not include people with disabilities in that? What makes them different? We need strict implementation of this law. We need mindsets to change. We need people to evolve. I know this is not going to not a problem. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I'm going to keep soldiering on towards this cause. Um, it's not an easy task, but it can be done. It's not impossible. We all know that it truly takes a village to make real change. It took one to make this law. It's going to build this law. Till then, we are going to keep fighting. The day that you see a person with a disability sitting with you in a public space, in your place of work, studying with your child, without you noticing it as a novelty, is the day that I am going to sleep better at night. Till then, I am not going to shut up. I'm